know what I did? I found the little one of the dudes that was head of the civil rights movement over top of Martin Luther King, the white dude.
Oh, you found it.
I found one of them. It's four of them. I just couldn't find the other four. That's why I said a lot of information that they be putting out, right? A lot of information that you find some years back, it's easy to find it. But once they find out, people starting to get on it and make it hard for you to find it. Oh, I had to dig. I got it in a book at the house. I just didn't have time to go through my books today. You know, we just had enough time to go in the house, feed the dogs, and change my clothes and roll back out. That was it. Anyway, let's clap it up. All right. It's brotherhood class. We always say brotherhood is synonymous with sisterhood. So anything we say for the brothers, it goes for the sisters. Let me start back over. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatah to all the brothers. Yahweh Shema Thamba Shem Yahweh Shah to all the sisters. It's ISUPK Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. We've been bringing this truth since 1969, and that truth is the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives are the true biblical Jews of the Bible, and our oppressors, the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Right.
Now, this is part 2. We started off last week with our title last week was Remember the Days of Old. This is part 2 of Remember the Days of Old. I didn't get a lot of the information out that I wanted to get out last week. I didn't even talk about the stuff I wanted to talk about last week. That's all that was. We got out some information, but our title from last week was Remember the Days of Old. It's the same today, right? One of the things that we have to understand is we can never trust our enemy. Right. And a lot of our brothers and sisters don't know who the enemy is. A lot of us think the enemy is our own people. I hear a lot of people saying, we are our worst enemy. No, we not. Because we didn't put ourselves in slavery. We had something to do with ourselves coming into slavery, not following the law, statutes, and commandments. But a lot of brothers and sisters, they like that. A lot of those cliches really help to destroy us. We like to hear things that sound good. We are our own worst enemy. That's a saying that everybody uses. We use it the most, though. We have to understand who our enemy is. And matter of fact, let's do this. Let's grab Matthew chapter 7, verse 17. We're going to start right there first. Right? Matthew chapter 7. And we're going to start at verse 17.
Matthew chapter 7, verse 17. Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit.
It says, even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. Listen. Every tree bringeth forth good fruit. Every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. You understand? What is it talking about when it's saying every good tree bringeth forth? Let me start back over. Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. You understand? Read on.
But a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit.
But a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. You understand? Go ahead.
Verse 18. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit.
Go ahead.
Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit.
So that's vice versa, right? It says a good tree can't bring forth corrupt fruit, and a corrupt tree can't bring forth good fruit. Go ahead.
Verse 19. Every tree that bringeth forth, every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire.
Go ahead.
Verse 20. Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them.
Okay, right? What is it talking about? What is it talking about? It's talking about trees and fruit, right?
Right.
Talking about apples on trees. You know what I mean? You're talking about apples on trees, right? So it's a metaphor. Speaking of people, right? Speaking of people, and basically, what is the whole thing in a nutshell is we can know people by the fruit that they bring forth, by the works that they do. by the things that they say. You understand? By their actions.
Right.
You understand? Read that again. It says, even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. You understand? And this is how we can know who our enemy is.
Right.
You understand? Look at the fruit that the people who oppress us bring forth. We have never gotten a good fruit from that tree. We have never gotten anything good from our oppressor.
Right.
Everything that we've gotten from our oppressor has maintained his foothold over us. You understand? We are a destroyed people because we don't know who our enemy is. You understand? Read that next line, 18.
Come. Matthew 7, verse 18. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit.
A good tree can't bring forth evil fruit. A good person can't bring forth evil deeds. Go ahead.
Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit.
And neither can a corrupt person bring forth good deeds.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And everything that we see out of our oppressor is evil deeds.
Right.
I mean, let's name some of the deeds. You understand? I'm gonna start with child support.
Damn right.
You understand?
Okay.
Let's go to welfare.
Right.
You understand? Everything that they do, is to maintain a foothold over us. They know who we are. They know we're the children of Israel. This is the reason why they want to maintain that foothold. Think about this, right? Think about welfare. Think about welfare and child support. You go to welfare. If a woman goes to welfare, what does she have to do?
If I could, sir, from what I understand is that it cannot be a man in the house.
It cannot be a man in the house.
Adult male.
It cannot be adult male in the house. That's an evil tree bringing forth evil fruit.
Right.
On top of that, what else do they tell you after that? If we give you this welfare, the man who is not in the house, you have to put him on child support. An evil tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Look at this. Look at the pattern. After they put you on child support, what happens? If you get behind on child support, what happens?
It's like, from what I understand, they clip your license.
Clip your license. Now, let me ask you a question. What does a license have to do with child support?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing at all. But these are the vices. Listen, an evil tree can't bring forth good fruit.
Right.
You understand?
Okay.
An evil tree can't bring forth good fruit. An evil person can't come forward or can't come to you with good deeds. An evil person is corrupt. Corrupt tree can't bring forth good fruit. A corrupt tree can only bring forth corrupt fruit.
Right.
And look how corrupt we are in America. You understand? So then after they suspend your license, what's the next step?
If I could, sir, a lot of people, a lot of brothers and sisters, they need that license to get back and forth to work.
Right?
Some brothers and sisters need a license for work.
Right.
Drivers, you know what I mean?
Most of the time, you need your license to maintain a livable wage job.
Okay.
So if they already know this, and this is the reason why they clip your license.
Right.
Now, in clipping your license, what happens?
You lose your job.
You lose your job, right?
Okay.
And then what happens after that?
You lose your job, you get behind on child support, go to the claim.
An evil tree cannot bring forth good fruit. An
Right.
evil tree can only bring forth corrupt fruit. You understand?
Okay.
We shall know a tree by its fruit. How can we understand that this oppressor that we are under is corrupt? How can we not listen? This tree is corrupt from the roots.
Right.
It tells us that our oppressor is wicked from the womb. Matter of fact, grab that Ecclesiastes 7:7.
Come.
Is that Ecclesiastes 7:7?
So,
I think not. I don't think so.
I think so.
No, not that. No, that's not it. What did I just say? I'm getting old.
Is it Ecclesiastes?
Well-
Ecclesiastes or Ecclesiastes?
Ecclesiastes. Hey, what was this? What did I just say?
Wait, hold on. So like, oh yeah, show the oppression.
That's not it.
That's not it.
No.
We was talking about evil fruits. Can't bring forth.
No. I got you. Right here. Give me Psalms 58:3.
Go.
Psalms 58:3. We have to first understand who our enemy is. You understand?
Come. The book of Psalms, chapter 53 and verse 8.
58 and verse 3.
58 and verse 3. It's like, book of Psalms, chapter 58, verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb.
You heard that, right? It says the wicked are estranged from the womb.
They
You Go ahead.
They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies.
Listen, they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lie. Listen, they come out. They listen. It's in their DNA just to be how they are. You understand what I'm saying? They are wicked from the womb. You understand? And we as children of the Most High, we feel like we can change these people.
Right.
There's nothing we can do about these people. These people are wicked from the womb. Listen, it says they are strange from the womb, and they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Understand? It's in their DNA to be just how they are. You understand? Now, let's do this. Let's rewind, right? Let's go back over what we went over last week. First thing we touched on last week was what?
We went over Jim Crow laws.
We touched on the remembering the days of old. Remember that. That was Deuteronomy 32:7. We touched on that, remembering the days of old, remembering our parents. Listen, think about this, right? Just touching on that. Think about the things that our parents went through, right? And this is the reason why the scriptures tell us, ask thy fathers and they will tell us. You understand? Ask our elders and they will show us. You understand? They will show us the pictures of the lynchings. You understand? They will tell us about how they used to be beat in the street. You understand? Dogs being sicked on them. You understand? These are the things that we have to remember. Remember, this is the title of this class is Remember the Days of Old. This is part 2 from last week. Remember the days of old, right? So we touched on that, Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 7. And I think that was what, 7 through 12, verse 7 through 12. We touched on that. Then we touched on never forget, right? We should never forget the atrocities that happened to our people, right? Just like we were just talking about all of the things. See, because we are a forgiving nation when it comes to other nations. We are a forgiving nation when it comes to other nations, but we don't like to forgive our own.
Right.
That's the hardest thing in the world. You understand? This is how Ahmaud Arbery, this is how his brother ended up hugging the oppressor that shot his brother in his own apartment.
Right.
You understand? This is how we always, every time there's a killing or a police shooting, we always the first one to come on TV and say, I forgive them.
Right.
You understand? There's a time to forgive and there's a time not to forgive.
That's right.
You understand? These acts of war these acts that they're doing are acts of war against another nation of people. Right. Remember, these are not our nation, and we get it misconstrued because we think we American. We think we African American. We think we are a part of America when we not. Right. You understand? We are destroyed as a people. This is not our nation. You understand? We got to understand who we are, who the Most High created us to be. You understand? What does Micah 2:10 say? Micah 2:10 says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest." We getting too comfortable in America.
Right.
You understand? We getting too comfortable in America. Comfortable to the point where these oppressors are not having a problem with murdering us on the street.
Right.
Too comfortable. And then we cry out, where's our help? Where are the laws? The laws are supposed to, no, these laws were never made for us. We talked about that last week. You understand? You understand? It's emancipate. When they created this Constitution was not written for us. In that Constitution, and what's that? Article 1, Chapter 2? Article 1, Chapter 2, something like that. Article 1, Chapter 2, in that Constitution, it states that we are just what, 3/5 of a man, right? 3/5 of a person. They don't even count us as a whole person. How can you be a part of a Constitution that says we the people? They don't even count you as a people. You understand? So we touched on that. Never forget. We got to remember the things that have happened to us. What else did we touch on? We touched on the Maryland Doctrine of Exclusion. This was one of the first laws when the Maryland Doctrine of Exclusion of 1638, when it was just the 13 colonies, and the other colonies took on the Maryland Doctrine of Exclusion and added on to suit themselves. You understand what I'm saying? So the Maryland Doctrine of Exclusion says what? No slave, neither the descendant of a slave or black person shall enjoy the fruits of white society. We talked about the fruits of white society. The fruits of white society is anything that you can use to build a nation on. America uses every industry at their disposal to build America. America was built off the backs of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives. It was totally built off of us. Like we talked about last week. We talked about who invented what, right? We couldn't really think of anything that the oppressor really invented that he didn't take from us, right? He didn't invent anything. This America was built solely off the backs of the blacks, Hispanics, and natives. Think about this too, right? Stolen land from the natives and the Hispanics, and then used us as the labor. He also used the Hispanics and the natives for the labor too. You understand what I'm saying? Imagine somebody stealing your house from you and then making you rebuild your own house, or build an attachment on the side of your house to your house.
Right.
You understand? Only for you to live outside of the house. Think about it, right? Every good tree has good fruit.
Right.
You shall know a good tree from its fruit. A good tree can't create corrupt fruit, and a corrupt tree cannot create good fruit.
Right.
We have to understand who our enemy is. You understand? Ecclesiasticus 12:10 says, "Never trust thine enemy," and that's what we have too much of. Too much trust for our enemy.
Right.
You understand? What else did we touch on last week? We touched on coming together under ethno-aggregation. That's us coming together, which the Most High tells us in Zephaniah 2:1, what? Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. And that's a problem with us. We talked about it earlier. You know, we got too much trust in the oppressor. We'll come together with the oppressor, or we'll come together with somebody from another nation to build. But we won't come together with our own to build. Zephaniah 2:1 says, gather together, O nation not desired. We have to come together on one accord, and we have to understand that we are a nation of people that are not desired. We have many enemies.
Right.
We have many enemies. You understand? And we have to understand who they are. You understand? What else did we touch on?
Black codes.
We all before that we touched on the
Jim Crow.
what I was just talking about before that. The other nations being against us. We touched on the Psalms 83.
Right.
Psalms 83, 1 through 5.
Come.
You understand? We touched on that, and we have to understand, what does it say? They have taken crafty counsel against us, right?
Right.
We have to understand that these nations have no love for us. They smile in our faces. Why? So that they can get our dollars. You understand? That's what the nations do. They smile in our face just so they can get our dollars. Me and my rib was we was doing a block the other day, and we actually found out where the Asians live at. In a huge community in Potomac, North Potomac. North Potomac, Maryland. Listen, every corner we bent, it was Asians. Every corner. Listen, I ain't saying Asians and oppressors mixed in. I ain't saying Asians and East Indians. Well, we did see one or two East Indians, but it was a community, and I ain't talking about just 2 or 3 blocks. We talking about a whole community. Every time we bent the corner to drop a package, it was Asians walking, Asians running, Asians doing everything. You understand? They got their own community. Listen, this is the reason why I keep asking brothers, listen, where do these Asians live at? Because I know they're not coming all the way from China every day on the plane just to sell 4 wings and rice, fried rice. You understand what I'm saying? They have their own communities, which they'll happily let you know that you are not allowed.
Right.
You understand? Beautiful communities. Listen, they are our enemy, right? Our enemy is coming into our communities, taking our money and building heaven for themselves, while they leave us in a total hell. You understand what I'm saying?
No.
We have to understand who our enemy is. And it's not hard. You understand? Okay. After that, what we touched on, the black codes, right? And what I want to do is I kind of want to pick up from there, from those black codes. Do you still got that article? Okay. I want to actually touch on the article of talking about the black codes, what the codes were. I want you to look through that and tell me, is that on yours? I want to make sure I gave you the right one.
I got the Reconstruction Begins. It's one from History Channel. Passage of the Black Codes, limits on Black freedom, impact of the Black Codes.
I got the one from hold up for a minute before you step out. I got it right.
I got another one too. They got it's the History Channel, so like it's the History Channel.
That's
Jim Crow laws, and it has Black codes in the second paragraph.
does it list the black codes?
It does not list the Black codes.
Okay. All right. I got something right here, right? I don't know if you got that list of Jim Crow laws.
Jim
You got
Crow
that
laws
one?
in the 20th century?
Nuh-uh. It says Jim Crow laws examples by state. I'm gonna read it to you.
Okay.
Right? Okay, it says list of Jim Crow laws example by state. This is a list of examples of Jim Crow laws, which were state, territorial, and local laws in the United States, enacted between 1876, right after the, emancipation, and up to 1965. Now think about it. All these these laws lasted up until 1965. Don't get it misconstrued, right? They still use these laws.
Right.
These laws never stop. You understand? The laws that they use to suppress us, to oppress us, have never stopped. They still using these laws. Think about it. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, 7 Republicans went into a room and changed all of the voting laws in Georgia last year. And nobody complained, right? The one lady that tried to go in there, they locked her up, right? These laws that they create were created to destroy us. You understand? And no Democrat fought those laws, did they? They didn't change anything. You understand? That's because it's 2 wings of the same bird. 2 wings of the same bird got the same brain. You understand? And their goals are the same. They both just want to be the ones who use the slaves, you understand, to their advantage. Right? All right. It says this is a list of example of Jim Crow laws, which were state territorial laws in the United States enacted between 1876 and 1965. The Jim Crow laws existed throughout the United States and originated from the white codes that were passed from 1865 to 1866 and from before the American Civil War. They mandated de jure segregation in all public facilities with a supposedly separate but equal status for Americans of African descent. In reality, this led to the treatment that was usually inferior to the provided Americans of European descent, systematizing a number of economic, educational, and social disadvantages, right? State-sponsored school segregation was repudiated by the Supreme Court. Think about this, right? We talked about this too, right? When they integrated schools, remember we talked about that integration, right? When they integrated schools, it was supposed to be, they didn't say they were only integrating here or integrating there. It was supposed to have been a mixing, pulling everybody together, right? But we also said, you know, why was it only black students being sent into white schools? It was not white students being sent into black schools, right or wrong.
Right.
You understand? That's integration. And we talked about that last week too. We also said whenever you integrate into anything, you become the thing that you integrate into. They refuse to become us, but they would rather us become them. You understand? And in us becoming them, that's how you get a Thurgood Marshall. That's how you get a Clarence Thomas. That's how you get an Oprah Winfrey. That's how you get a Charles Barkley. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
These are how you get people who hate their race. You understand? Now, we're going to go through. Go ahead.
Slash, you got question one.
Go ahead.
Princess Zaria, sorry. It says, can this content be used in a marriage?
Can this content be used in a marriage?
As far as wicked tree, good tree, bad fruit. And she got a little bit more. It says, if a marriage has a wicked husband, will that make the marriage a wicked tree?
Well, if a marriage has a wicked husband, first off, the woman should actually examine herself.
Right.
You understand? Because what does the scripture tell us? As a matter of fact, let's do this. Grab what's the scripture? Hold on. Let me pop out of this. I gotta come back to that. You understand? Because a lot of times we tend to believe that, you know, we are in bad, you know, situations, or somebody is wicked, and we never really examine ourselves. You understand? That's Ecclesiasticus. I think it's 25 and 20. Let's see, Ecclesiasticus. I just missed it. What did I do? 26 and 23.
Come.
Ecclesiasticus 26 and 23. Read that.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 26 and verse 23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man,
Read on.
but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord.
Hey, listen, check this out. Sometimes we got to examine ourselves. It says a wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but it goes both ways. Wicked man is given as a portion to a wicked woman. First off, we got to examine ourselves. We got to step back and we got to ask ourselves: are we living, or are we living the law, statutes, and commandments? Right. Then on top of that, we have to also look at ourselves. Did the man we choose, or did the man that we chose to be with, was he wicked in the beginning? You understand what I'm saying? Because you don't just get into a situation with a person and they all of a sudden become evil, right, or wicked or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of times the person that we with was already wicked, and we probably was out there doing wicked stuff with them. But we decide to change, and you understand, then that's how we end up with them. But scriptures tell us a wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man. Sometimes we have to examine ourselves and see, are we just as wicked as that person? A lot of times we like to look at somebody and point out the injustice or the imperfections in a person when we got the same imperfections in ourselves. Right. And a lot of times we should examine ourselves before we start, you understand, pointing things out. Then once we find these things out, a lot of times what we need to really do is go to counsel. You understand? And in the ISUPK, Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, this is the best place to get counsel. Right. What the sister probably would want to do is call a captain who was over her and get real righteous counsel. You understand? Because it may be that the brother might not be wicked. The brother might just not be willing to be led by a woman. You know how we get upset and angry about that. You never know. It could be a multitude of things. So before we start calling people wicked, we need to probably step back and examine ourselves. You understand? And find out if that was enough. Find out if the sister, if that was, did I answer a question, or did she need to?
She ain't even here, so she not even on no more.
Okay, don't worry about it. Let's go. Where was we at? I was on the
Jim Crow examples and cities.
Okay. All right.
Jim Crow laws and different cities.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm glad I got you with me. I would definitely wouldn't. You feel me? All right, here we go. Right. We're gonna start right here, Arizona. Listen, let's go here. Let's read a little bit right here, right? Think about this right here. It says, it shall be unlawful to conduct a restaurant or other place for the serving of food in the city at which white and colored people are served in the same room, unless such white and colored persons are effectually separated by a solid partition extending from the floor upward to the distance of 7 feet or higher, and unless a separate entrance from the street is provided for each compartment. This law was put in place in 1934. Think about it, right? All of the signs that you see, that when you see white entrance, colored entrance, white bathrooms only, colored bathrooms only, these are those laws that were created in 1934, right? The Alabama Constitution of 1901 separated schoolhouses for African Americans and white people. This is in 1901, right? That was in Alabama. Oh, wait a minute. Let me turn my joint on. And we're gonna go through just a few. But my thing won't even work now. They won't even do it for me. I gotta go back. Let me go back. Boom, boom, boom. Let me go out. Be patient with me. Be patient. Be patient. I'm coming. I'm coming. All right, here we go. Whoop, wrong one. All right, here we go. Think about this, right? 1864. What's this? Miscegenation, marriages between whites with black people, Indians were declared illegal and void. The word descendants does not appear in the statute. You hear that?
Okay.
That was in 1864. In 1901, let's go to 1865. Statutes which added the word descendants to the list of minority groups. The revised statute also stated marriages would be valid if legal where they were contracted, but noted that Arizona residents could not evade the law by going to another state to perform the ceremony. Meaning, if you was trying to marry somebody who was not of your race and you lived in Arizona, you couldn't go into another state, get married, and come back and think you was good.
Right.
You understand? This is crazy. In 1911, passed 6 segregation laws, 4 against miscegenation and 2 school segregation statutes, and voting rights statutes that required electors to pass literacy tests. You understand? The states, I'm not saying this right. Hey, this word right here, what's that? Miscegen nation.
MISCEG.
Mm-hmm. Miscegenation.
Miscegenation.
Miscegenation. Miscegenation laws prohibited blacks as well as Indians and Asians from marrying whites and were not repealed until 1962. Can you believe that they couldn't marry all the way up until 1962? Even though we don't condone that anyway.
Right.
In the UPK, that's a good law anyway.
Yeah, I got the definition if you wanted to.
Go ahead. What's that definition?
Miscegenation. Miscegenation. Sexual relationships or reproduction between people of different ethnic groups.
Right, here go. Right.
Especially when one of them is white.
Right. Education in areas with 25 or more black high school students and elections would be called to determine if these pupils should be segregated in separate but equal facilities. 1928 forbid marriages between persons of the Caucasian, Asian, and Malay races. Listen, that was in there. I'm going to Maryland, though. Let's do that. 1904, in Maryland, all railroad companies and corporations and all persons running or operating cars or coaches by steam or any railroad line or track in the state of Maryland for the transportation of passengers are hereby required to provide separate cars or coaches for the travel and transportation of the white and colored passengers. You can't even ride in the same car with them. But we knew that already.
Right.
You understand? Listen, I want to jump on those are just some of the those Jim Crow laws. These are laws that they have created to keep us, just like they said, what did they say? Separate but equal.
Right.
It's always separate but and unequal.
Right.
That's how their laws go. This is the reason why we have to build our own nation. We have to separate ourselves from them. There's three things, right? You have integration, which is us integrating into them and becoming them, right? You have segregation, where they separate us. And that's the thing we was talking about, separate and unequal.
Right.
They give us inferior things when they segregate us. You understand? And then there's separation, which is what we want. We want to separate ourselves away from them. We want to build our own facilities, have our own things, have our own luxury.
Right.
You understand? That's why we want separation, not segregation and not integration. You understand?
Okay.
I got an article right here because we talk about us as us as black people, when we also have to, not forget about our brothers and sisters who are also included with us, the Hispanics and natives, right?
Right.
Let me get out of this. Where am I at? I got that article right here. And this is the article I was talking about last week, right? It's called the Pumunki Peace Talks, right? And here we go, right? Indians poisoned at a peace meeting, right?
Right.
This was in 1623. 1620, in May 1623, Captain William Tucker, right, led English soldiers from Jamestown to meet with Indian leaders here in Pumunki territory. Listen, think about this. Have you ever heard of the Pumunki tribe? Know why? Because they got wiped out.
Right.
The oppressor wiped them out. Listen, what was the thing that we said? We said, good fruit or good tree produce good fruit.
Right.
Evil tree or corrupt tree produce corrupt fruit.
Right.
We're looking at a corrupt tree right now. We're reading about a corrupt tree, right? Says the Indians were returning English prisoners taken in March 1622 during war. Leader Opechancano's orchestrated attack on encroaching English settlements. And this is written by oppressors. So, along the James River, at the meeting, the English called for a toast to seal the agreement, gave the Indians poisoned wine, and then fired upon them, injuring as many as 150, including Opechancanough and the chief of the Kiskaat. I'm guessing that was another Indian tribe, right? The English had hoped to assassinate. Oh, that's his name. What's that? Opechancanough, who was erroneously reported as having been slain. They succeeded in 1646. Listen, another article about this talks about how the people who didn't drink the wine, they actually bludgeoned them to death.
Okay.
You understand? Women, children, and babies. You understand? This oppressor has no love for our people.
Right.
You understand? No love for us at all. This article right here was really a soft version of the article that I had last year.
Right.
And it's so hard to find a lot of this stuff now. Like I said, it was hard for me to pull that up right there. You know what I mean? Where last year and the year before, that stuff was just popping up. And this is another thing about what we talked about, like a corrupt tree bring forth corrupt fruit. These people are so corrupt that they taking off real history, trying to wipe the books clean of the real history. And they trying to rewrite history. They trying to make us believe that they were, upstanding people when we can see in all of this stuff that we reading about them that these were not upstanding people. You understand? I have another article on our Hispanic brothers. We're gonna go in. I'm gonna go into that, right? And this one, I think this one is it right here. Here we go. Listen, this is the Mexican American War, right? This is the Mexican American War, and I really want to go down to this article right here, and it tells how much land they took from the Hispanics. But let me drop up just a little bit. Right, President Polk, who had recalled Trisk under the belief that negotiation would be carried out with a Mexican delegation in Washington in the 6 weeks it took to deliver Polk's message. Trisk had received word that the Mexican government had named its special commission to negotiate. Against the president's recall, Trisk determined that Washington did not understand the situation in Mexico and negotiated the peace treaty in defiance of the president in December 4th, 1847. A letter to his wife, he wrote knowing it would to be the very last chance and impressed with a dreadful consequence to our country which cannot fail to attend the loss of the chance. I decided today at noon to attempt to make a treaty. The decision is altogether my own. Ignoring the president's recall command with full knowledge that his defiance would cost him his career, Trisk chose to adhere to his own principles and negotiate a treaty in a violation of his instructions. The stand made him briefly a very controversial figure in the United States. Under the terms, right, the treaty negotiated by Trisk, Mexico conceded to the United States Upper California, New Mexico. This was known as the Mexican Cession and included present-day Arizona and New Mexico, parts of Utah, Nevada, and Colorado. They took a lot of land from these people, and it was more than that. They took more land than that. You understand? They just brushing this up to make it look like that. Listen, we got to understand who our enemy is. Look at the laws that they create against us. You understand? They broke every peace treaty with the Native Indian. They have no love for anybody of the 12 tribes. You understand? Listen, they didn't do this to the Japanese. They didn't do this to the Chinese. They didn't do this to the East Indian. You understand? We have to start thinking about why is it only happening to the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives. Go ahead.
Good. One of the things is that we got to realize that the oppressor knows who they have as POWs. Man. They know who they have as captives.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And they also know from history that if they leave us alone, there's a past and superseding everything they can do.
Right.
You know, so that's a threat to them. You know, so in order for them to maintain the cloak and veil of white supremacy, they got to continue to kill us and dishonor us, keep us away from the truth of who we really are.
Exactly. Exactly. You know what I mean? And think about it, right? 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3 says what? Let no man deceive you by any means. And this is what we are allowing to happen to us. Right. We allowing the oppressor to deceive us. This is why we keep running out and voting, thinking that something's going to change. Brothers and sisters have been voting since the early 1900s. Right. And our situation has never changed. Right. It says, let no man deceive you by any means. But we keep falling for the lies. We keep falling into the snares and the traps. Why? Because we refuse to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Right. We follow law, statutes, and commandments. We don't have to think about this too, right? Think about this, right? When is the last time you seen Asians line up to vote?
No.
So if Asians don't line up to vote, especially within the city, right? They don't line up to vote. How do they get all of the corner stores in the city?
They don't.
They don't vote.
Right.
They don't vote. They gather together. They gather themselves together.
Right.
They bring their resources together and they make it work. And this is what the Bible has always told us to do. You understand? Think about it. How does the East Indian get all of the Dunkin' Donuts? All of the Dunkin' Donuts.
Because they don't vote.
So you mean to tell me, right? Don't no black people want to own no Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
No Hispanics want to own no Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
Come on, man. This is a conspiracy. And you know what? No, let's not even say that, right? They have taken crafty counsel against us.
Right.
These nations come together. Judith chapter 5, verse 17.
Okay. It's the book of Jude, chapter 5, verse 17. And whilst they sinned not before their power, they prospered,
Right,
because the power that hateth iniquity was with them.
right.
Verse 18. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles.
And listen, and this is the reason why we destroyed in many battles, because we have departed from the Most High.
Right.
We have departed from the ways that we were once in. It says when we followed the ways, we were on top.
Right.
We were on top. We prospered. But this is what happens to a people who become arrogant.
Right.
When we become arrogant, we stop following the Most High, then we fall, and we fall hard. And we fell to every nation.
Right.
We have fallen to every nation. I mean, think about it, right? What nation are we over right now? And the condition that we in right now, what nation are we over? And think about it, right? Every nation has something to lean on. Just like we said, the East Indians got all the Dunkin' Donuts. All of the Arabs got the chicken spots,
Right.
right? All of the Asians own the corner stores. The Africans cornered the bootleg market.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Who I leave out? I leave anybody out? The Afghans and the Ukrainians on their way over. They live in free rent.
Right.
They live in free off the backs of us.
Right.
Did I leave anybody out? Who we live out?
The oppressor.
We got
That's
come on,
ours.
Presser got everything.
Yeah, that's ours.
He can do what he want to do.
No, God.
I mean, think about it, right? What nation are we over?
There isn't any, sir.
Think about it, right? We the most talented. How are we not over the other nations?
Right.
We're the most talented. We are the creators of everything. How can you be a creator of everything and be under everybody? Think about it, right? How can Chinese people come over here or Asians come over here and sell us soul food?
Right. Dang. Right.
How can the so-called small hat own the music industry? They don't even make music.
Right.
How can the oppressor own all the sports teams and we number one in all the sports?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Come. It's that crafty counsel we spoke about, Psalms 83.
Hey, listen, that's crafty counsel if I've ever seen it. You understand? What's the scripture, right, that says Jeremiah 4 and 30?
Oh, come, sir. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 4 and verse 30. And when thou art spoiled,
Go ahead.
and when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do?
Think about it. What does that mean when thou art spoiled?
When we destroy it, what we gonna do? Like how you gonna survive? What you gonna do? How you gonna get out of that situation?
Think about that word spoil. What's a spoil?
A spoil is, all right, depending on the context, a spoil can be something that you collected from a battle, from war,
Right.
or,
So-
or it can be that you are just destroyed overall.
Think about it. But we are the commodity of every nation. We are the spoil of every nation.
Right.
Think about it, right? Think like this, like we just now said, right? The Asians own all the corner stores in our neighborhood. So now we go to them and we spend all of our money with them. They don't spend their money with us. We spend our money with them. We are spoiled to them.
Right.
East Indians got the Dunkin' Donuts sold up, right?
Right.
We go to them, get Dunkin' Donuts. They don't spend money with us,
Right.
but we spend our money with them. We are spoiled to them, right?
Uh-huh.
The Arabs got the chicken spots, right?
Right.
We go to them to get our chicken, hip hop chicken. Look at the hip hop,
Right.
right?
Right.
We go to them with our money, but they don't come to us with their money. We are spoiled to them. All the small hats own most of the properties in our neighborhoods, right? We are spoiled to them. The oppressor owns everything else. We are a spoil to them. So what do we do? Listen, read that again.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 4, and verse 30. And when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do?
What will we do? After they done took everything from us, what will we do? What are we going to do?
Beg and plead.
Beg and plead. You know, I
Love
can't.
everybody.
I'm short a little bit. Can you let me slide for $1? You understand what I'm saying? I'm short a quarter. You understand what I'm saying? What are we going to do? We're going to beg and plead, right? Read on.
Though thou clothest thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold.
Listen, no matter what we put on, it don't matter what we put on. You understand? No matter how slick we look, we still going to be in the hood.
Right.
Go ahead.
Though thou rentest thy face with painting.
Go ahead. We make our face up, especially our women.
In vain shalt thou make thyself fair.
And in vain shall we make ourselves look good for no reason.
Right.
Go ahead.
Thy lovers will despise thee. They will seek thy life.
Our lovers will despise us. Listen, these other nations despise us.
Right.
They act like they like us, but they want everything from us. They seek in our lives.
Right.
You understand? Think about it, right? Them brothers that play football and basketball, they put their lives on the line every day.
That's right.
You understand? Them brothers that working in these industries, we put our lives on the line every day. We go out, we hunt, and we bust our tail all day, every day.
Right.
A lot of us got to work 2 jobs.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They despise us to the point they giving us crumbs just to keep us alive. Just to keep us alive. You understand? And we accept it. You understand? A corrupt tree bringeth forth corrupt fruit. When a man has to work 2 jobs to survive, or he can't survive off of 1 job, that's corrupt fruit.
That's right.
That's corrupt fruit. We got to recognize who our enemy is. Remember the days of old. Our fathers will tell us.
Right.
Our elders will show us. You understand? We got to understand who we are. We got to understand we the greatest people. We the descendants of the greatest people to ever walk the face of this earth. And these people look down on us. They look up to look down on us because they are below us.
Right.
But we put them in a position to look down on us. You understand? Go ahead. Was that it on that?
That was it. Let's
That was-
go to verse 30.
No, you can drop that. You can drop that. What was we talking about? We also touched on.
The last thing we was talking, if I could.
No, go ahead.
We was talking about the tribes that got bamboozled.
Oh no, yeah, that was the Pamunkey tribe,
Pamunkey
right?
tribes.
And listen, this is not the only tribe that they did that to. They did that to many tribes.
Right.
That's how the Native Americans, well, that's how the natives got wiped out of all of their land.
Right.
Think about them killing off the buffalo, knowing that the natives followed the buffalo and lived off the buffalo. They slaughtered millions of buffalo just to destroy the natives.
Right.
How horrible can you be?
Right.
You understand? A corrupt tree bring forth corrupt fruit. You shall know a tree by its fruit.
Right.
We should know this oppressor by now. You understand? We should know this oppressor by now. This oppressor has no love for us.
Right.
2 million brothers in prison. Listen, America has the highest prison rate of any nation on the face of this planet. Think about this. China has 1 billion people. How does America have a higher imprisonment rate than China?
Right. Oppression.
So what the scriptures say, oppression maketh a wise man mad,
Right.
but a gift destroyeth the heart. Listen, our leaders have taken gifts from the oppressor and they are destroyed.
Right.
We have weak leadership. Again, a corrupt tree bringeth forth corrupt fruit. Our oppressor is corrupt. In turn, corrupts our leaders.
Right.
A gift destroyeth the heart. Give them a few shekels of silver, and they'll sell us right down the river to the oppressor.
Right.
That's why we in the condition we in. You feeling me?
Okay.
That's why we in the condition we in. You understand? Last week we was also talking about what? The true intentions of the oppressor comes to light, signing it. Remember what you said about signing the contracts? The music contracts.
Oh yeah, how
We got bamboozled,
yeah,
right? Listen, I wrote some notes down. I took some notes. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's the problem with us. You understand? Anybody ask no more, right?
Lie, that was
Okay. All right. So let's jump to Isaiah chapter 30. I guess we can start at verse 1.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 30 and verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children.
It says what?
Woe to the rebellious children.
And woe means what?
Destruction.
Destruction to the rebellious children, right? We are rebellious children.
Right.
You understand? And we being destroyed. We being destroyed for being rebellious.
Right.
Go ahead.
Woe to rebellious children, saith the Lord, that taketh counsel, but not of me.
Say that again. That take of what?
That take counsel, but not of me.
What does that mean? Take of counsel, but not of me.
It's like, if I could, it means that the children, the rebellious children, are taking advice and following on with things that the Lord, our Father, told us not to do. So we instead of us following the rules, the law, statutes, commandments that the Lord provided for us so we can sustain life on this planet, you understand? We want to go after the people that the Lord didn't even deal with and follow after them because we know like they had so much more fun than us.
Right.
You understand? We envying our oppressor. It's a lot.
Taking that counsel. You understand? Just like you said, though, we taking counsel. We looking to America.
Right.
We taking counsel from America. How? Again, corrupt tree,
Right.
corrupt fruit.
Okay.
We taking counsel from a corrupt tree, a corrupt nation.
Right.
A corrupt nation can only give you corrupt advice.
Right.
You understand? And corrupt advice goes against the Most High.
That's right.
You understand? We taking counsel, but not of the Most High. We should be looking right here at these laws, statutes, and commandments.
That's right.
This is our instruction right here. Remember, the Bible is not a religious book.
Right.
The Bible is a book of laws, statutes, and commandments. The Bible is our moral compass.
Right.
The Bible is a moral compass. The Bible tells us everything that we should do. The Bible tells us how to deal with the oppressor.
Right.
The Bible tells us how to deal with the other nations. The Bible tells us how to deal with our brothers and sisters. But we want to take counsel from a nation that is only set out to destroy us.
Right.
Read on.
Come. And that covered with a covering, but not of my spirit.
What's that covering? What does that mean?
It's like, if I could, sir.
Go ahead.
Coverings are the philosophies of the other nations. You know what I'm saying? The spirit of other nations.
Name a spirit.
LGBTQ community.
Yep.
LGBTQ elemental P activities.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? The whole.
Give me the most famous one.
The most famous one?
Yeah, give me that most famous. Listen, think about this, right? It said, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, right? What's that American spirit?
Inclusion. That inclusion?
It's inclusion, but that's not that solid American spirit. What is that solid American spirit?
Solid.
And I know you know.
All right, so I don't know where you're going with it.
Go ahead. Take a shot.
Solid American spirit.
Yep. Listen to what I just said, right?
It's
I said
white supremacy. Is that it?
that's the American spirit, right? But that's not where I'm going. Think about it, right? That solid American spirit. For the land.
Of the free. In the home of the brave.
Listen, we get caught up in that, the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right.
When you pledge your allegiance to any nation, you take your allegiance away from your nation.
That's right.
Listen, that's that spirit. And I say that's that spirit. Why? Because they teach you that as a child. They teach you that in kindergarten.
Right.
They teach you that starting out. The first song that you learn is that song.
Right.
Because if you learn it right there, by the time you get into high school, because I did it, I was proud singing that. You understand what I'm saying? Not understanding. You understand? Because it encapsulates you. You understand? That's the American spirit, the Pledge of Allegiance. When you pledging, think about it, right? It says, I pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to a flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands. And then it lies and say one nation under God, indivisible. You understand? With liberty and justice for all. Have we ever seen liberty and justice? But we pledge that allegiance to that. And every 4th of July and every Labor Day, you see people dressed up in red, white, and blue, Star Spangled Banner, all of that. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's the spirit. That's the true spirit of America. That's the lie.
Right.
You understand? That corrupt tree is spitting out corrupt fruit and corrupting the people. And in turn, the people are spitting out corrupt fruit. You have a kid and you allow your kid to say that Pledge of Allegiance, to sing that Star Spangled Banner and not know what they're talking about. That's corrupt. That's like dropping weeds in a garden and just letting the weeds overtake the garden. That's what's happening. The weeds are overtaking the gardener. And we don't have a gardener to clean the weeds out. Here in the ISUPK, we do.
That's right.
We the gardeners.
That's right.
You understand? And we cleaning up the weeds out of the garden. You understand?
Okay.
That's it right there. Go ahead.
Okay. That they may add sin to sin.
That they may add sin unto sin. Think about it. Just what we just said, right? That they may add sin unto sin. Everyone created equal. Everybody That's the lie that they tell us too. Everybody created equal. We all got the same opportunity. And then add sin to sin. Justice is blind. You understand? Until proven guilty. You understand? We always say justice is blind. We innocent until proven guilty, but we know that's not the truth with us. But we live on that. We live on that lie. We truly believe that lie.
Right.
How many innocent brothers and sisters been put in prison for years and years and decades? And all of a sudden they get out and find out that it's not true. How many brothers been murdered and killed? And all of a sudden they find out that the lie that they put on that brother and sister was a lie.
Right.
You understand? They come out years later, decades later, and this is how corrupt America is. America always want to release something after everybody is dead, after everybody who set the lie in motion, after all of the corrupt police die off, or they then retired somewhere and don't nobody know where they are. All of a sudden, because think about it, now they coming out with the Malcolm X thing, the Malcolm X thing, the truth behind the murder of Malcolm X. The CIA opening up those files now. Ben Crump is heading it. But why now? Because all those CIA agents and FBI agents that had something to do with it, all of them dying off now.
Right.
So you got nobody to hold accountable. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And this is the reason why the Bible says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. You understand? He who killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. It says what? The Bible tells us what? That his children. Then it said, what's that script?
Say it again.
That their children shall pay for the sins of their fathers.
Okay.
You understand? That's what America doesn't understand. That they're going to have to pay for everything that their descendants did. They live and think about it, right? They living off the corruptness of their descendants. And they carrying on the tradition. You understand what I'm saying? They carrying on the tradition. Grab for me Ecclesiastes 7 and 13. Let me know when you get that.
I got it, sir.
Go ahead.
Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 13.
And this is us right here. You understand? We always think we can make a difference. We always think we can make a change. We always think we can do something to change the course of time. You understand? That's why we kept doing them same marches, same dumb marches over and over and over again, thinking it was going to change the minds of the very people that hate us. You understand? Go ahead, read that.
Consider the work of the Most High.
Say that again.
Consider the work of the Most High.
Consider the work of the Most High. Think about it, right? Think about the work of the Most High. Who is more powerful? Who can hang the sun right where it's at? Have the moon to come out when it comes out. You understand? Who makes that sky turn colors? You understand? Who hangs the stars in the air? Right? Who can separate lands by oceans? You understand? Consider the work of God. Consider the things that the Most High can do. You understand? Consider how he separated the nations. How he made the nations look different. You understand? Consider the work of God. Go ahead.
For who can make that straight?
Say that again.
For who can make that straight?
Read on.
Which he had made crooked.
Who can make that straight what he had made crooked? Think about this. This is where we go wrong at, right? We always think that we can change the mind of the oppressor. Most High created this beast to be the way that he is.
Right.
The Most High created him as a monster. How can you tame a monster? This is the problem with us as Israel. We believe that we can change the things that God made the way that he made them.
Right.
There's nothing that we can do to change the mind of this oppressor. The only thing that we can do is come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. That's it. He had destroyed the Native Americans. He got the the Hispanics on the border in cages.
Right.
He's separating families, taking children. Children are disappearing, separating the Haitians, women and children from their fathers on the border. You understand what I'm saying? What is the purpose of separating a family on the border who coming for shelter?
Right.
What's the whole point? You understand? Because a corrupt tree cannot give off good fruit.
Right.
A corrupt tree can only give corrupt fruit. We have to gather ourselves together. Ye gather together, O nation not desired. You understand?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Verse 14. In the day of prosperity.
No, you can drop that.
Okay.
You can drop that. Yeah. That was one I had. I didn't get to hit that one the other day. You understand? Isaiah chapter 30, verse 2.
So book of Isaiah chapter 30, verse 2. That walked to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth.
You walked to go down into Egypt, but not asked asked at his mouth, at the Most High's mouth. Think about it, right? We shaking hands and making covenants with our enemies. You understand? Walking to go down into Egypt and not asked at the Most High. We didn't even try to find out did the Most High sanction this? We just go down and we shake hands, we make covenants, we make agreements, we do this and we do that. We sitting around signing bills or signing acts. What's an act? What's an act?
What is it?
Something phony,
Right.
right? An act is not real.
Okay.
We signing acts. We gonna act like we gonna help y'all. You understand? What's a bill? What's a bill?
Something to pay.
Something to pay. We gonna give y'all something and we gonna owe y'all.
Right.
We ain't gonna never come through on it. It's a bill.
Right.
Listen, the Asians have a law passed. They don't have a bill. They don't have an act. They have a law passed.
Right.
We're gonna act like we're gonna do something. We're gonna bill y'all for something. Because every time they do something for us, we always end up owing.
Right.
Think about the sharecroppers. Sharecroppers think they making out, and they ended up at the end of the day, they ended up with a bill. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Go ahead.
To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh.
Just say that again.
To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh.
How do we strengthen ourselves in the strength of Pharaoh?
Being tricked into thinking that, if we get a couple traits from our slave masters, that we're gonna be doing something, that we're gonna be doing better than we were. You know what I mean? And, in all actuality, we're just getting further and further away from the real answer that's always come together as people.
Think about this, right? It says to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh. Strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, celebrating those customs and culture, thinking we included, celebrating the 4th of July alongside of them.
Right.
Celebrating the 4th of July, knowing that in the 4th of July, we was in chains, right? But we figured we celebrate the 4th of July with them, we're going to strengthen ourselves in them. And then we all going to be strong and we're going to get along. And you understand?
Right.
Strengthening yourself in the strength of Pharaoh, celebrating the customs and culture like that's your custom and culture. That's how we strengthening ourselves in the strength of Pharaoh. You understand? But it ain't strength for us at all. You understand? These are not our customs and culture. Go ahead, read on.
And to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
And to trust in the shadow of Egypt. How do you trust in the shadow of Egypt?
Like you said earlier, speaking about the Pledge of Allegiance.
There you go. Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying?
Star Spangled Banner, thinking that the Constitution is for us. Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution, thinking that we are all created equal, knowing that we are not created equal. Why are we not created equal? Because God made us better than them.
Right.
So we can never be equal to them.
Right.
We are better than them. But they want you to think that we are equal, and then they put you on the low end. Say you 3/5.
Right.
You're not even a full man.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Creed, you understand it says, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. We trusting in that shadow of Egypt. We trusting in that Pledge of Allegiance. We trusting in that Star Spangled Banner. We trusting in that Constitution. You understand? Knowing that all of that stuff speaks against. Think about it. Star Spangled Banner, they took the third verse out that talked against us. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Talk about how we going to be destroyed. Our blood going to run through the streets and all of that. You understand? At the end of the day, they're going to be on top. That's what that third verse be about. You understand? That's how you and trust in the shadow of Egypt. We trust in the shadow of Egypt. We trust in the shadow of America. We trust in America's laws. We think we're gonna get justice. Every time a brother or sister gets married, we always think we're gonna get justice. We're gonna get justice. We're gonna let the justice system work. That's what we always say. We're gonna let the justice system work. We're gonna wait for the outcome. We're gonna wait for the outcome. And then you see women there sitting there praying to that white God. You understand? Because if they was praying to the real God of Israel, they would have gathered themselves together.
Right.
They would have separated themselves. And we would not be in this condition.
Right.
You understand? That with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge started out 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yakana. Passed the class over to Priest Officer Nadarwan. Right.
Shit. It's locked.
He dropped down on you.
Low ride.
Kept dropping down on me. I just left.
All right. Security announcements. With ISUPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or a sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves to the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Ties, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18 and 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Means 10th in Hebrew, and is pronounced by Asherah. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the Treasury Department or a teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations. We got the memorial blowing the trumpets, which is September the 15th, correct? Yeah, September the 15th. Yeah, it's September the 15th. What's that, Leviticus 23?
Memorial blowing of the trumpet, September the 15th. Leviticus 23.
Yeah.
Verses 24 to 25.
Leviticus 23, 24 through 25, all right? Remind Akim and Akwathian to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headbands, or scarves. Men of Israel, mighty him. The ones courtesy to the teacher, like Shabbat, mighty, rock. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat. Class dismissed.